inspire anyone who has ever been to Safety Town. It's called Field Trip. With our peanut butter and jellies ripening in our brown paper lunches, complete with napkin notes from Mom, if you were loved. My 4th grade class, all coveting a seat beside the impeccable Nicole Smolin, single-filed onto the school bus. We buzzed from 99 bottles of beer on the wall, joy-drunk like prisoners sprung from our classroom cells. We were headed to Safety Town, a miniature city built to teach 9-year-olds the meaning of yield signs, how to cross a street without dying, the significance of traffic lights changing like autumn leaves. Each student was paired with a bicycle, introduced to a new language of arm movements indicating right turn, left turn, stop. One by one, I watched my classmates pedal away like ducklings, first learning to explore, leaving me, the only 4th grader in the entire world who never learned how to ride a bike. The crossing guard fastened the helmet strap under my chin, guided my fingers to imaginary handlebars, complimented my invisible blue bicycle's horn and basket. Friends whizzed by, as if propelled by a secret everyone knew but me. When I came home, I stole my brother's 2-wheeler, carried it out into the yard like an animal I intended to slaughter, determined to ride off all the way into adolescence, where the bright red humiliation of the day faded out like distant taillights. And I rode and rode and rode until I broke my own arm. This is really convenient because I have these little post-it things, but then I also have a table of contents. Yay! And okay, that's it. So how many pages are in this? I'm going to tell you. We're learning together. 89. Woo! 89. It sounds like a good number. I don't know. This is one of the newer poems in the book. Keeping with self-deprecation, I suppose, but in a little slightly more serious. This is called the Irrational Anthem. We were down to the stale candy and pennies at the bottom of the Halloween basket. Neighbors were moving the skeletons from the front yard to the attic, and the squirrels were fat on faces we carved from pumpkins. Spent 2 days trying to squeeze back into our human costumes, but you kept looking at me like I was still a princess. When we elected the new president, the streets of our college town gushed with sound. Car horns woo-hooed and noisemakers hurrahed, and above, I could hear the sweet hallelujah of liberals making love. If the world were to stop for a minute, we could hear the confetti fall. Love is quiet like that. I didn't know back then. The other man arrived in limousines, charmed desserts right onto our plates at restaurants where the placement of silverware mattered. He laughed like a packed house encore and could unzip my dress with only his eyes. He made me feel like the only woman in the world. He made a lot of women feel like that. But you never picked up the bill. The only gift you ever gave me was a handmade binder of your father's poems, penned before they laid him in the ground. I thought of the gold-leafed leather journal the other man had given me, took notice of your book's tattered spine. You did not teach me how to sneak, but how to stare at roadkill until it became art. I chose the man who knew the difference between a Cabernet and Merlot by scent alone, but still didn't know the color of my eyes. Now you've moved to a new state with your apple pie woman, where the townsfolk speak in drawls, and the city girls grow impatient for how your words fall like molasses because you make sure you mean them before they leak out your mouth. That's where the page ends. But when your grandchildren ask where you were when the president, who looks most like your family, won that night, you will remember the pot smell of my apartment, the dizzying tapestries, my stupid roommate who slept through the changing world, how we celebrated with our skin like two snapping firecrackers, how I begged you inside my body, and it was the most American thing we could do to pray like that. The other man's love was a spectacle of sound let loose in an empty room. I spent years clawing after its echo. That November was my last election. I'll never step into another poll booth again. Won't even allow myself the option of choosing the wrong man.